Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into Morning in the Valley. It is June the 27th. Happy you are with us today. Big show today, as finally we have been able to chase down Murray State men's basketball coach Ryan Miller. He will join us in about 10 minutes. He actually joined me on Tuesday. It is another recruiting weekend on the men's basketball calendar, and Coach Miller is out of the country. So, searching down some future racers. So, we were able to track him down on Tuesday, recorded our conversation as he is now surpassed. You'll hear when we talked on Tuesday, it had been 99 days since he had been hired as Murray State's head coach. He has surpassed the 100-day mark of his administration there at Murray State. So, we'll talk about everything racer basketball with Coach Miller coming up here in just a few minutes. If you haven't done so already, please head over to YouTube, subscribe to our channel there. You'll get notified every time we go live. We have all of our past shows, past interviews, interview clips from all 11 of our schools here in the Missouri Valley Conference, and would really appreciate the support as we help to, or you can help us continue to grow this page and this channel as we cover Missouri Valley Conference basketball all season long. All right, time to get to some headlines of the morning today. And we're going to start with some NCAA administrative news, because why not? Isn't there anything else that just gets you more excited than talking about the NCAA? But this has been coming, and it has now been approved by the NCAA Division I Council that starting next season for both men's and women's college basketball, the season will expand by a game from 31 to 32. Now, 31, there's a little fuzzy math because that includes playing in an MTE that allows you to get, but the cap is 31. That cap now goes to 32 starting next year. CBS Sports' Matt Norlander, in his article that he wrote about this change, the main point that he made in the beginning was this is going to allow more high-profile matchups in the regular season because it is giving an opportunity to the power schools, obviously, to all right, well, let's match up. We've got these power conferences, all these conference games. Hey, we can get an extra non-conference game, and maybe some have even said that they can play it in January, play it in February. That seems like something they're going to like, and they can, as a preparation for the NCAA tournament. That's the power schools. I'm not as concerned about that. My thing with this is what I hope it will do is it will help fortify and solidify and maintain the multi-team event structure around the country that has started to get a little wobbly here in the last couple of years. We saw the Myrtle Beach Invitational, at least for 1 year, take a pause this upcoming season. You have seen all of these power schools continue to kind of pull away from the MTEs, start going into more almost invitational MTEs with themselves. This Players Era Festival, which is an NIL event out in Las Vegas. The number, I think they're up to 18 this year. I think it's going to 32 next year. Where you come in, we're going to pay you $1 million, whatever the number is going to be, and it has just made it increasingly difficult for mid-majors to get these games against the power schools. I don't know that this solves that problem, but if there was a deviation from MTEs a little bit, this is really I feel like it's going to push people back toward it, just due to the fact that there is an extra game on the calendar, and there is also no expansion to the calendar. So, we're still going to start that first Monday in November. We got to be done by the first Monday in April with the tournament. So you don't have any extra growth time to spread your games out. You got finals week worked in there in the first week of December for most programs. And so you need to find a situation where you can play 3 games in 3 days, or in some case now they're going to allow 4 games in 4 days to get into these multi-team events And if you're going to play 32, it's really almost imperative to be in some sort of MTE that is not just a, four game, four team, two game bracketed event. Like, you've got to get into an event where you're going to get 3 games in a very condensed period of time, if not 4. If you want to have some semblance of not otherwise, you're going to have to be playing games in November and December where, you're playing on a Monday and a Thursday, maybe again on a Sunday, just trying to speed the calendar up to be able to get more games in. Now, schools are not going to be required to play 32, but they can. And look, if you have postseason aspirations, leaving an extra resume piece just on the table doesn't really make sense. So 32 will be the cap next year. Norlander also saying that within the next decade, do not be surprised, after talking with sources in the industry, if we do not see that cap of games go from 32 to 34, even 35. And especially as it becomes more professionalized basketball, and money, especially and that's another piece to this with the house settlement and in the revenue sharing, you get to 32. Well, you've got a whole bunch of teams around the country, and probably in the end, a lot of it's going to be the big boys, but it's going to be another home game and another opportunity for revenue. And so, as more revenue is needed, we see it in the NFL. We've just seen it in the NHL. You're seeing it in college football. The more we are still an entertainment product, and the more you can expand and the more product you can give to the television partners, the more money you hope you can bring in. And that is another big component of this. But for now, we'll worry about 34, 35 somewhere down the line. For now, it is next year, the 26-27 season, that we will expand the schedules from 31 to 32 games. Speaking of MTEs, how about the Belmont women? Off to the Bahamas as they will take part in the Pink Flamingo Championship in Nassau, Bahamas. It is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of Thanksgiving week. And what a field that they have put together down there in the Bahamas at the Baha Mar Resort. Alabama, Belmont, Harvard, Minnesota, Ohio State, South Florida, and West Virginia, and an 8th team to be announced at a later date. There are some brand names in there, but I think most significantly when you look at it, Alabama, an NCAA tournament team last year. Harvard, an NCAA tournament team last year. Ohio State, South Florida, West Virginia, NCAA tournament teams last year. And then you have Belmont and Minnesota, who played for the WBIT championship, which is the basically the tournament right below the NCAA on the women's side is the WBIT. So this is a Bart Brooks last year scheduled like a lunatic, and he went and played everybody that would say yes. And it was Ohio State and Duke and Kentucky and Mississippi State, and the list went on and on. Well, he's got a chance. He's going to get 3 games down here in the Bahamas, maybe get a little bit of a tan as well, but got a chance. And that was the one thing when we talked to him a couple weeks ago. He said, we scheduled hard. We missed opportunities to get some wins on a neutral floor. We'll see what he and the Bruins can do down there in the Bahamas Thanksgiving week. We back up 3 months on the calendar, and in the exact same resort, Murray State, the men will be heading down to Baha Mar in Nassau, Bahamas. They're taking their every 4 years, although at this point it will have been in a 6-year hiatus since the last time the racer program went on a international tour, but they'll be going on their summer trip August 3rd to 7th down there in the Bahamas. They'll get 3 games in 3 days. It'll be against the University of Calgary will be one of the games, and then 2 teams, I believe professional teams from down there in the Bahamas. So as Ryan Miller has talked about in the past, this is just huge. And I think that for any not only a first year, but a first time head coach, brand new staff, brand new roster. Yeah, you get your 8 hours a week to work out during the summer, but half of that's being spent on strength and conditioning. They're going to get 10 extra full practices before they go. Then you're going to get 3 games together. It's a huge jumpstart for them. And so certainly a lot of excited folks around Murray, Kentucky are going to make the trip down there to the Bahamas to cheer on the Racers. More non-conference scheduling news has come out. from Murray State, as our friend Rocco Miller, bracketeer.org, has announced. November 15th, Nichols will be coming into the CFSB Center in Murray. It's the first meeting since 1990 between these two schools. Back in the day, Nichols State had a home and home with the Racers, and now this is a bye game for Murray State. And look, Nichols was a pretty good team last year. They finished third in the Southland behind McNeese, who, of course, went to the NCAA tournament, won a game with Will Wade as the head coach. Nichols handed McNeese their only loss in the Southland last year. But when you look ahead to this season, from a projection standpoint, Bart Torvik, barttorvik.com, the only one of these metric sites right now that has sort of put out the projections with the rosters and how everybody looks like they're going to look, at least from a computer standpoint, ahead for this 25-26 season. Nichols last year was sort of in that 150, 160 range in the KenPom ratings. This year, Bart Torvik projecting Nichols to be 275, right where Murray State wants them to be, a team in the bottom, the bottom 100 that, again, all things play right and Murray State takes care of business on their end. That will help boost the net, and they will, again, massaging the metrics as best you can. But that will be a one-off there, November the 15th, Nichols coming into Murray. So the Racers at this point have just one game left to fill on their non-conference schedule. We still need a date for their home game with Little Rock, which is a return of a home and home that started 2 seasons ago. We still need an opponent and officially a date and a location, but we know they're playing in that Field of 68 opening day showcase. We believe will be November the 3rd up in South Dakota, but no opponent named yet. And then there's just one vacancy left. We believe that will be a home game, but the Racers are all but done. More news and notes out of Murray State. A busy week there in Murray, as that is Jordan Verhulst. He is the offensive coordinator who has been hired by Ryan Miller there at Murray State. Miller has talked about trying to put a staff together and sort of, as he puts it, following a football model. He wants an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, somebody that does special situations and personnel, because he just believes from a scouting standpoint, in the past, and a lot of schools still do this, and nothing wrong with it, but it's okay, coach, you got this game, other coach, you've got the next game, and they just kind of cycle through, one game at a time. So everybody they go all in on that one game. Well, Miller's belief is if you're not scouting for the next opponent, he doesn't believe you're necessarily as involved as a coaching staff, everybody all hands on deck on that particular opponent. And look, it gives some freedom to, hey, you can start working ahead on the next opponent. Maybe you can get out on the road and recruit a little bit, but he likes the football model. Greg McDermott has utilized it at Creighton. Miller was both the defensive and offensive coordinator in his time there as associate head coach at Creighton. But bringing Jordan Verhulst in, who has been on the staff at Memphis twice, most recently with Penny Hardaway down there. He's been at Auburn. He's been in the G League. He's been at Chipola Junior College. So he has coached and been on staff at all kinds of levels. And Ryan Miller really appreciates his offensive brain. And so he's bringing him in as the offensive coordinator of the Racers. All right. It is time. It has been, I believe, today, as I look at the date there, June the 27th. I believe it was March the 27th, if memory serves, that Ryan Miller was officially introduced to the Murray State faithful as the next head coach of the Racer basketball program. Fast forward 3 months, and we finally have him here on Morning in the Valley. We had a chance to talk on Tuesday as Coach Miller is off and running on the recruiting scene. It's a big recruiting evaluation weekend around the country for coaches. And if memory serves, he is actually out of the country today. So we got a chance to catch up with him Tuesday. And here is my long-awaited conversation with the head coach of the Murray State Racers. Here is Ryan Miller. Coach Ryan Miller, welcome finally to Morning in the Valley. Today, as I look at my calendar, it has been 99 days since you were officially pen to paper, named the head coach at Murray State University. What has been the biggest change in your life here in the last 99 days?
Obviously being the boss, calling all the shots, personnel, staffing, everything that goes into being the CEO and managing a program like Murray State, a very successful program with a rich history and great leadership in the past and in the present. So being that guy that's making those final decisions on everything from player personnel to staffing.
I've heard this story. I mean, we knew about it when it first happened. It's still 99 days later. It stuck with me as amazing that you took this job sight unseen. Was there anyone in your circle, your mentor group, whatever? Look, we know Murray State has all this tradition. We feel certainly in the West Kentucky community that, look, it's a great job and people have launched to great places out of it. But was there anybody in your circle that was like, are you sure you want to take this without at least kicking the tires and looking under the hood a little bit?
Well, I mean, the history of Murray State basketball kind of speaks for itself, Jeff. The 18 conference championships, the many great legendary players that played here, the many great legendary coaches that have coached here. So first and foremost, the history kind of spoke for itself. A program what's been defined by winning and championships historically. So that being said, when Nico and the leadership team of Murray State came and talked to me in New York City, and they had a vision, and it's a vision that included the revenue share and NIL and the transfer portal and this ever-changing landscape of college athletics. And they shared their vision with what they wanted to accomplish through this new hire. And I had a really good job. I was the offensive coordinator, the associate coach for Coach McDermott in Creighton. We were going to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament on a regular basis. And so it took a program, and it took a leadership that was visionary to be able to make a move sight unseen. And obviously, like I said, the history spoke, and then the changing climate and the visionary leadership of Nico Yanko and the administration spoke to me, and it made it so it was the right place, the right time.
When you got off that plane and landed in Murray, Kentucky for the first time ever, did you remember what sort of went through your mind when you just walked out and saw the folks there? And obviously, hello, new world.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing for me is I couldn't wait to get to work. I believe that was a week after or so after they announced I was going to be the new head coach. So I really wanted to just get in the office, get my staff together, and really get to work. We had a lot of work to do. Coach Prom and the previous administration had a lot of seniors on their roster, so they lost a lot of, we lost a lot of guys to graduation, and then obviously with the turnover, some kids wanted a new somewhere else to go, a new place, new opportunity somewhere else. So it was just like, okay, let's do this press conference, let's lay out our vision, let's get in the office, and let's really try to put this roster together.
You talk about the press conference when you walk in and that room there. I mean, it was full and it's packed, and you get sort of your first real introduction to this fan base. What was that day like for you? And thankfully, I'm sure for you, it was relatively early in the day that it wasn't a lot of sitting around waiting all day to get to it.
Yeah, well, it was amazing. I mean, obviously, again, one of the reasons you take a job is because of the supportive fan base. And Murray State has had the supportive fan base for a long time. So it was awesome to be in front of people, the people that are passionate about the basketball program. Again, one of those things that lured me or intrigued me about this job was the fact that the passionate fan base, and they showed up for the press conference, and it was an awesome deal to be able to lay out our vision, what Murray State basketball looks like under our leadership with a great fan base, and the media there was an honor to do so.
When you are trying to, and it's drinking from a fire hose, certainly, especially that first week when you're still trying to finish out your deal with Creighton, and you guys are hopefully making a run, and you're trying to hire staff and trying to find players. What was your vision of, this is the team I want to try to put together? And oh, by the way, I've probably got about 2 weeks really in the big picture to try to fill that roster out.
Yeah, as you know, the transfer portal moves fast. Luckily, we've had some guys that we identified, whether I coached them or the staff coached them. But what really helped me, I was able to hire 2 guys relatively fast with Brendan Mullins' retention there. He knew the league very well. I don't know the league very well. I always said this. I said this in the head coaching meetings. I've coached high major basketball like 15 years. And I think we played like 2 or 3 Missouri Valley Conference teams in those 15 years. You just weren't doing it. So I didn't know the league very well. So the retention of Brendan Mullins was very important. And then hiring Ernie Kuiper, my GM, to get me sorted on the NIL front was very, very important. So getting those 2 guys particularly, and then obviously hiring the rest of the staff was important. But laying out a plan, the transfer portal moves very, very fast. And if you're not ready, you get smoked. And we didn't want to be in a position to be smoked. So we got aggressive. We first started with guys that, like I said, like I coached previously, that had previously relationships, guys like Fred King, my nephew Mason Miller, Ben Solsberg, and then we rounded out the roster from there. But it was a fast-paced, long hours, 2 to 3 weeks of putting this baby together. That in our vision, what it looks like, and in our vision, what it looks like is a fast-paced offensive team, very similar to what we did at Creighton. A lot of space, pace, moving the ball, all those cliche buzzwords that you hear a lot. But that's what we kind of execute, and then putting together a team that can play aggressive man-to-man defense without fouling.
You have tapped into the international market. That's something that has been a strong suit for you in your recruiting days. Certainly, you're bringing that now to Murray State. You have gotten signed Matisse Corbin, Roman Doman. Hope we've got their French pronunciations right there. But the one thing I'm interested about is in terms of just getting them to campus. We're sort of going through a political climate right now of there's some pauses on student visas and getting kids over and so on. Have they gotten to Murray yet? Are they coming soon? And it's just that whole process. Is that just sort of one more hurdle than the many hurdles you have to deal with trying to get kids to campus sometimes?
Yeah, obviously there's been changes in the political landscape as far as student visas, and our guys have been on top of it though a little bit. Matisse is here working out with their team. Rahman would probably be here, but he's playing with his national team, the French national team, in the U20s in Greece this summer. And then we'll have one more international that we'll probably sign and announce here in the next few weeks that we're pretty excited about. And he's actually playing on his U19s team in Switzerland, where I'll be this weekend. So excited about those guys. I think they have great perspective. They've been playing against older guys their whole life since they've been 15, 16 years old. So going through the process of what college athletics looks like today, where it's get old, stay old. They kind of understand that process and been there with that process a little bit. So the adjustment as far as mentally, they can handle a little better sometimes than American kids. And we really wanted to get young through the international players, and that's kind of what we did.
I guess your recruiting pipeline, I guess, from over there, and we talked last month about you bring these guys in, they're not 18, they're closer to 20, and you get old, stay old. Well, you bring them in old. That's sort of helpful. If you can just expand a little bit on their, you're trying to keep 15 guys happy now. It's always been about trying to keep 13 guys. Now it's 15 guys, but bringing these kids in that are talented, and there is talent out there to bring, but at the same time, if they're not playing right away in sort of the I want everything now society we kind of have, they're really crucial pieces to what you're trying to build, right? With just patience as much as anything.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we look at the roster. Obviously, there's 15 roster limitations, and we really want a core group of older guys, experienced guys that have been through the battles and the wars as our forefront guys, because they understand how to win. They understand how to deal with adversity a little bit better. So that's what we try to do with our top line of our roster. Then obviously we want to create a culture here. So we have to do that with our development piece. So younger guys that we think are very, very talented that might be overlooked now today because the high major programs are really, really getting old and staying old. So we went that route, and, we believe that we've put together a really good roster where we got this old core group of guys that have been battle tested, but then we got these young guys that are going to learn from these older guys and eventually be the guys that are set the foundation to our culture going forward.
Your brother, Mike, obviously 5 years younger than you, played in the NBA. We got to see you guys posted that he came in and talked to the team not long ago. I guess the first question about Mike is being the older brother, and I'm an older brother, and you spend your whole life trying to make sure you assert your dominance to your younger brother. When in your basketball journey, a college basketball player yourself, played a little professionally, when did you realize you had been lapped and there was no passing little brother anymore.
I'll tell the story. Between my junior and senior year of college, I played at a small Division II school in Aberdeen, South Dakota, Northern State University. I was a Division II All-American, so I was pretty good. I mean, obviously not as good as the guys I'm coaching and my brother Mike, but I was a pretty good player, and I was playing on a very successful team. I mean, we won 3 straight conference championships, went on to win our 4th, played in Elite 8 NCAA Division II, and it was between my junior and senior year of college and between his junior and senior year of high school. And I'm at home during the summer, and I'm out in the driveway like they did in the old time basketball, working on my game in the driveway. And it's about 11 o'clock at night, and my brother comes home from hanging out with his high school friends, and he is wearing Doc Martin boots and jeans. And he goes, "Hey, bro, you want to play a little one-on-one?" I go, "Okay, check." So I beat him, but it took every ounce of power I had to beat him. And that's when I said, no more. I'm not playing him again because I know the outcome is going to be not good for me. And I remember going into my dad saying, "Man, I don't know how good Mike's going to be." I didn't foresee 17-year NBA career with 2 NBA championships, an NBA Rookie of the Year, and playing the 2000 National Championship game against Michigan State. But I said, I don't know how good he's going to be, but man, he's going to be special. And he had a special career. It was fun following it. And it was fun being part of it.
It's awesome to have a resource in the family tree like that in your position to be able to bring him. When you bring him in and he's in front of the group talking, what's sort of the main message outside of just, "Hey boys, let's work hard"?
The message is be process driven. Be ready for opportunities when they come. They're not going to come all the time. So how do you be ready for those opportunities? Just through the work, the day-to-day, building that foundation, working on your craft, working on your game, and then mental toughness when things aren't going your right. Mike told the story of game 5 or 6, I can't remember exactly, of the NBA Finals against Oklahoma City. Mike was having a rough series. His minutes were up and down. And then in game 6, Spoelstra calls him into the game, and he makes 7 of 8 threes, I believe, in that closeout game against Oklahoma City. So how you keep your mental toughness to be ready for that moment was a key aspect to what he talked about, and how you put in the work and then have the confidence in your game because you've put in all this work in the dark or in the gym, and when the bright shine the brightest, you're ready for those moments. So he really hit on those things, and I think that was really relevant for our guys because what your role is today might not be what your role is tomorrow, and just keep working on your game and then be ready for the moment when your number's called.
For a head coach that is knocking on the door of 50, you've been doing this for half your life coaching, and the seismic shift in the sport in the last 5 years from the portal to the NIL, now to the rev share and all of that. What has been, you learn a job a certain way, and now we've had this massive shift. What worked best for you? Sort of a seamless transition in the profession that you're like, I got this under control. And then maybe on the flip side, what has been maybe a little more of a curveball for you? And now certainly your role as a head coach of, all right, I'm this is not the job that I've worked my whole life for, but this is the job now, and I have to make it work.
Well, I think we hit on a couple of those things. Number one, we really look at a friend of mine said with the changing landscape, actually, Alan Huss, the former High Point coach and new Creighton coach going forward once Greg McDermott decides to step down, he told it to me, and it stuck. It stuck to me. He calls it CEO, change equals opportunity. And the changing landscape, we believe, gives us a huge opportunity to change or to evolve and to adapt. When other people don't want to, we're going to change the climate and we're going to adapt to the climate. And then you really rely on your relationships. I've been fortunate enough to coach 22 years or whatever it is of Division I basketball, recruited some of the best players in the country. And through those recruitments, I've developed great relationships, trusting relationships over the years. So when the changing landscape came, people can trust us and trust me. So they're calling me. Everyone said, hey, the hardest part of your job is going to be hiring staff. Who are you going to hire? Yeah, that's challenging. But the hardest thing for me actually was I had to sift through thousands and thousands of players because I had developed all these relationships over the past of trusting relationships where they trust me. They said, hey, I want him to play for you, him to play for you, him to play for you. So I had to go through this laundry list of players and really dig into them and then pick the 13, 14, 15 that we settled on. But that was the challenging part because there was a lot of work and a lot of evaluation. And today's landscape too, it's a lot of private investigative work. What makes the kid tick? What drives him? What's his passion? Is it playing team ball, or is it to get Instagram posts? All that stuff you're looking into just to figure out, okay, this is the kid that we want to invest in and be part of our program, because you're investing him through NIL, rev share, and opportunity of playing in a great situation at Murray State with great leadership and great fan base. So sifting through that was the biggest challenge, and really relying on some of those relationships that we've created over the years.
Like any head coach, it's all about culture, culture, culture. You walk in the door, you're just trying to throw a staff together. You're trying to get a team together in such a short period of time. As you said, trying to squeeze 4 years of college into 9 months because you don't know how long some of these guys are going to be with you. What is the biggest challenge in just installing that culture when not only is everybody around you new, but you're also new in your position as a first-time Division I head coach?
Yes, I mean, obviously our culture, both as staff and as a team, are very important to what we're trying to do. Like I said, we're going to try to play very fast offensive basketball, unselfishly. Number one, we want to play very tough basketball, both mentally and physically. We really want to inherit the 4-to-1. Bob Knight saying 4 of it to mental is 1 is to physical. We want to be both mentally tough and physically tough, and then we want to be competitive as all heck. We want to win every drill, every single day. And to do that, you have to start building trusting relationships. So this summer, we really took it upon not only the staff. I planned a staff retreat. I told you this, Jeff. Right when I got the job 2 months ago, we were going to go to the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska, before Murray State was thinking about making making Omaha. So we planned on this because, number one, I wanted our guys to see how cool the College World Series was and build that chemistry as a staff. But I also wanted to take this time to go ping pong ideas and sit down with Creighton and how we did it, how Coach Mack built that foundation there. So we did that, and that was all part of this, building this team, like putting this together. Like you said, trying to put 4 years into 6 to 8 to 9 months. So building this chemistry with staff, and then obviously staff knowing exactly what we want to do as both on the court, off the court, and build this culture and this foundation of unselfish, tough, and competitive basketball. So that was very important. And obviously we got to sit with our team and then take these lessons learned and be able to coach our team with it and build this culture the way we envision it.
What did you think your staff got out of it? I mean, obviously your goals, but I mean, they're in there, and you guys, from what I heard from boots on the ground, I mean, you're in some practice, you're going around the facilities, you're talking analytics, all this and that. What did you hope the main takeaway that they walked out of there with was?
How do you build a championship level culture? Obviously, Coach McDermott and I was fortunate enough to be a part of that for 4 years, and I learned a lot. I've learned a lot from every coach I've coached with, but obviously the last 4 years we've had a lot of success and just building. How do you build a championship level culture? And it's through the details, team travel details. When do we eat? When do the players eat? Nutrition, the day-to-day work it takes on the court and off the court to build this championship level culture. And that was the biggest takeaway. We were able to, Coach Mack let us into practice. So we watched practice. We sat down with each coach and the coaching staff to get to idea of how culture is built, how practice is planned, what Coach Miller and myself is going to demand out of them. So some of those meetings I sat out of just so they could hear things that people that I worked with for a while understand me and what's important to me, so they could really hear from somebody else besides me. And then obviously getting us all together just to have a pretty good time too. So that was pretty important too, because we want to build these trusting relationships, not only, like I said, with the team, but with our staff too.
I've heard you use you talked earlier about buzzwords. I've heard analytics thrown in there a little bit, and it's working its way into the game. And sometimes it's just, hey, what's this lineup do, and so on. But from your seat, what you have done at Creighton with analytics, and maybe it's not going to quite be as at this point as comprehensive at Murray State. But what is sort of your analytic brain? What do you want to bring to Murray State that you guys are able to use to ultimately help impact winning? Yep.
Well, I think one thing you saw is like Coach Mack's coaching tree, they've had a lot of success. And one reason I think that is because he gives a lot of autonomy to his coaching staff, whether it's Darren DeVries when he was there, Alan Huss when he was there, or myself when I was there. for 2 years I coached the defense, and we were big on we don't want to give up layups. We're going to wall up at the rim. We're going to vertically challenge everything at the rim to make it almost impossible to score at the rim. We're going to take away flyby guys off the 3-point line. We're going to make them sure there's no rhythm threes. And we're going to try to do whatever we can to make them play in the middle of the area of the court, in between the 3-point line and basically the logo of where you see the Missouri Valley Conference logo. We want as many of those shots as possible defensively. And then offensively, we really want to get the ball to the rim. We want to control the paint through drives or through post-ups. And then if they're taking that away, kick out for rhythm jump shot threes. And we also want to move the ball up court fast to get good looks at the rim early in the paint, or even quick threes, as long as they're rhythm threes. So those are the type of analytics in a nutshell. We won't be like Alabama per se, where they don't take any mid-range shots.
Right.
We'll allow guys to get in there 15 seconds, 14 seconds in the shot clock if that's what they do well. We had a kid, Trey Alexander, a couple of years ago that was really, really efficient, that shot. So we allowed him to do that. So we won't be crazy like Alabama, but we'll be pretty analytical sound. We'll take a lot of layups. If they're taking away that, we'll take a lot of threes.
I guess just the basketball nerd of me in terms of just compiling that information. I mean, is that you have people on staff, that's all they do? Is there, computer programs or whatever? Like, how do you get all that information to spit out the data to say, this is what we've done and this is what we need to do?
Well, we haven't hired him yet, but we're going to hire a basketball strategy and analytics at some point here. That's going to help. That's going to be gathering all that data. And some of that data will be internal. He'll be deriving it. We're going to get a system in our house called Shot Tracker. Basically, we had it at TCU. We had it at Creighton. It basically tracks every shot that's taking, every pass that's taking in the gym. So we know where our shots are coming from in a practice format. And so we can devise game planning, offensive schemes, defensive schemes where we're getting our shots in practice. And then, so we're going to do some of that internal, and there's some external places that we can go that we utilize out there. Things like KenPom, and there's other systems that we use too, Dior, that really help us break us down. Our analytics, HDI is another tool that we use that we outsource to grab analytic data that we will utilize. So there's in-house stuff that we're working on, and then there's obviously some outsourcing that we do to bring in these companies that do break down analytics at a higher level.
3 weeks into summer workouts with the majority of the team there. How is it gone? First time.
It's going awesome, man. We got a good group of guys. They work really hard. They want to be great. Our defense is a little bit ahead of our offense, which is quite normal. But they're working. We only get 4 hours a week on the court, then 4 hours strength and conditioning. So they're getting a lot out of it, though. And I like how we're gelling. We're doing a lot of team events, like I said, lake days, pickleball days, paintball days. We're just trying to build these bonds. We got a lot of people from a lot of different places. Some from France, some from Houston, Texas, some from Memphis, Tennessee. So they're from all over and all walks of life, and they have different experiences. So we want to share those experiences with each other. So we've been doing that quite a bit. And then we're going to take a foreign tour. Hasn't been announced yet, but this summer. So our training and our pickup, our basketball practices will pick up here a little bit, and we'll be getting after it in more of a November setting, I would say, where we can go. We get 10 practices before we take our foreign tour. So we're pretty excited about that because it gives us more time on the court with each other and really developing our culture and our identity offensively and defensively.
One young man you brought in, Lane Taylor from Central Arkansas, all freshman team there in the A-Sun. Had some shoulder surgery, I think, back in February after an injury. Any update on Lane's status, and is he ready to go yet?
No, obviously we're very excited about Lane and what he's done and his basketball acumen. Coach's son, he had labrum surgery, 6 months ago. He's been recovering with that labrum surgery on his shoulder, and he's been cleared for everything but contact. So in July, when we come back, I believe we come back to like July 6th or 7th, he'll be cleared for contact. So he'll be practicing full go. But right now he's been practicing, but not in contact.
Yesterday, I guess on Monday, your program announced home opener Mississippi Valley State. We talked earlier a few weeks about scheduling. You're like, look, we want teams like us or better us, or we want to play the bottom 30 teams in the country, and they're 364 out of 364. In general, like what's the goal with your schedule in putting this together?
The goal of the schedule, obviously, your non-conference schedule is hopefully not rely on 3 days in March in St. Louis when you're playing really, really good competition to make the tournament. So we have to do whatever it takes to schedule the top of the top of the top and by the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. That's how the NCAA has been telling us what to do. We're at the head coaches meeting in St. Louis. We had Lenardi come in, and that's what he told us to do. So that's what we're going to try to execute at the highest level. We're going to try to play Ken Palmer net teams that are 300 or higher, and then hopefully play them really, really well, and hopefully beat them by a margin that goes, holy cow, you guys are really, really good. And hopefully we can schedule teams in the future like we're doing at SMU, which gives us a great opportunity to beat a really, really good team on the road, or play with them, where if you get beat by them by 1 point and they have a very, very good year or 2 points, that helps you in your net too. So that's what we're trying to do, and that's what we're trying to accomplish through our scheduling. Now, it's very, very challenging because, like I said, I coached 15 years of high major basketball, and I can count on one hand probably the Missouri Valley Conference teams who played. And most of those teams were probably in an MTE, and they're trying to shelve us out of those too. So it's challenging, but, like I tell my staff, anything's possible. Let's find a way to make it happen.
You didn't use the words at large, but is your mind and coming from all the places you have been where that is sort of on the table every year with the schedule, and again, your ability to get games to make it easier is certainly better at those places and less challenging than maybe at a place like Murray State. But on June 24th here, I mean, are you thinking we are putting together an at-large potential schedule? Is that even in your mind, or is it just let's just get as good as we can be and we'll get to March and see what happens?
We have tried to put an at-large potential schedule, and that's the challenging thing that we're in front of us. I don't know. I mean, if we win all of our games, it is.
Sure.
Can we afford a couple hiccups, and then go into Missouri Valley Conference League? It's going to be challenging. But if we win all the games ahead of us in non-conference, we'll be able to, have an argument come Selection Sunday if we have a good conference season that we deserve an at-large bid. But, those teams are very challenging. I mean, we're going to Cayman Islands. We're playing McNeese. We're playing Middle Tennessee. We're playing Georgia Washington. I mean, these teams are very, very good teams. Yep. And they may not get the credit like a Creighton, a UConn, a Providence, but they're very, very good, and they're very, very well coached. So it's going to be a challenging non-conference schedule. I mean, you got the MAC champion Akron in Vegas that we're playing. So it's going to be very, very challenging. And hopefully our guys and our staff and I am up to the challenge of playing against very good teams and really good coaches.
3 public slots still left to fill. Anything you want to break this morning here on Morning in the Valley?
There's nothing quite yet, because
I tried.
We're finalizing a few things that are going to be dropped. I mean, you can expect a Field of 68 game to open up the season, probably.
All right.
So I'll give you that drop. So they'll probably be announced on their end pretty soon. Sure. But, there'll be some sort of Field of 68 deal coming out that we're pretty excited about being part of that. It ties with my roots a little bit. So, it'll be fun.
That's awesome. All right, last question. We have talked about culture. We have talked about team building. You guys, one of the things you have done, you went on a bowling event. And look, I see the pictures posted of these are the winners, and I'm looking for Ryan Miller, and I don't see him.
I got second.
Now, listen, you're the head coach. Like you have an opportunity to pick the event that's good for you. You can stack the teams the way you need to, so you can be the guy. Like, what's happening here?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we had a staff actually draft. So we had 7 teams of 4 people, and I don't know, Ernie, he got lucky again, man. He has a horseshoe around his around his neck or something. He's luckier than heck. But our team got second. They actually had a late charge, and Brock Weiss came out of nowhere, bowled like 180 to lead his team. So our team got second. We had a very good team. Braden played very good for us. Braden Shorter, I think he had like 150. JJ Trainer was really good for us. So I bowled like a 130, I think a 139. So I was right in there too. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed about the loss. I like to win at everything. So we compete to win, and unfortunately, we got snagged up by Ernie's team.
Old Ernie, guy that's been in your life a long time and figured out a way to take one away from you. Ryan Miller, the head coach of the Murray State Racers. Thank you very much for coming on this morning, and I know we will talk again soon.
I appreciate it, Jeff. Thanks for having me on.
There is Coach Miller. There I am. The long-awaited interview with the head coach of the Murray State Racers. I like to win at everything. That's a pretty decent competitive edge to have for your head coach. So glad to have him with us again. Since we talked on Tuesday, the game with Nichols has been announced, as we referenced there in that schedule situation. There, still waiting on the date for Little Rock. Still waiting on the opponent for the field of 68, but all is just about wrapped up with a non-conference schedule. I found it interesting and again, from a guy that comes from Creighton, from a guy that has been at TCU, who has been at Auburn, has been at places where at large is like, look, we want to win the conference championship, but if we can't, we've got the goods to be able to still get into the tournament. And so I was just really curious his perspective and the prism he's sort of looking at from scheduling of, all right, what are we trying to accomplish? And as he said, we tried to get an at-large schedule together. We tried, but it is, I think there is a sort of reflexive reaction when you just hear coaches talk about scheduling's hard, and it just is. It is a, sometimes, it's hard to get people to play you when you are of a certain stature. Then you have the component of, okay, hey, we've got somebody to play us. Now we have to decide, are we at home? Are we away? Are we in neutral? And then we got to find a date that works for us. It works for you. The whole puzzle is very complicated. Excuse me. So the puzzle is almost done, though, for the Racers and Ryan Miller. All right, a couple other scheduling pieces to talk about this morning, and they come from Charleston, South Carolina, as they will be playing two Missouri Valley Conference teams this season, as they will be playing both Drake and Belmont. Charleston will host Drake on November the 17th. We talked with Michael Admire a few weeks ago, the voice of the Drake Bulldogs, who had alluded to a home and home series down south. Well, sort of down southeast, but this will be the front end of that game played at Charleston. And then on November 30th, coming out of Thanksgiving, Belmont will go to Charleston. That is also the front end of a home and home in that series. And this is year two of the Chris Mack era. Of course, the former head coach at Louisville, and Xavier, one of the better coaches in the country. And, you look at Charleston last year, 153 in the KenPom. That's sort of in that kind of dead zone in the middle of, not a great team, not a bad team. Are they really going to help you? But you just kind of look at the pedigree. Look, they still won 23, I believe, 24 games last year under Mack. And then the 3 years prior with Pat Kelsey, before he moved on to Louisville, they were 101, they were 71, they were 144 before Kelsey flipped it. But I mean, you just feel like from pedigree with the program, worst case scenario, they're 150, but they can be a top 100, they can be a top 75 program. And from a road going and playing this game on the road, this could very well end up being a quad 2 type situation for both Belmont and Drake. So, and then next year, they get to return the favor and come to the Valley to play the back end. So a couple of good games there for both of those teams. And then one other final scheduling note this morning, Northern Iowa will be hosting Northern Illinois. Rocco Miller reporting that as well yesterday. Northern Illinois coming to UNI November the 18th. And, Northern Illinois, I had to look up. I was trying to do some quick research on Northern Illinois, and it was like I went to the Mid-American Conference, and they're not there, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's right, they left because football left to go play in the Mountain West, and I knew that football was in the Mountain West, and everything else had gone somewhere else, and I could not, for the life of me, remember where they ended up, and where they ended up was the Horizon League, which was a complete just a blind spot for me. You could have given me 10 guesses. I probably wouldn't have come up with a Horizon, but Northern Illinois in the Horizon. And again, from a Bart Torvik projection, they are at 307. So that is right in that sweet spot of a good home game that hopefully Northern Iowa can take care of business and certainly help out their metrics as best as possible. The NBA draft ended last night. Now we're getting into the portion of the program with summer league invites and so much. Saw this morning former Drake guard Mitch Muscari, part of that Missouri Valley Conference championship team, who had come back for a 6th year. He has signed a summer league deal with the Phoenix Suns. So I believe he'll be out in Vegas here in a couple of weeks. And I'm sure we will have more former Valley players getting their opportunities now with some tryouts, workouts, summer league invites, and so on. And we'll certainly pass those along to you here in the coming weeks. For all of you who maybe joined us today for the first time, glad to see you today. We are here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. on YouTube, X, Facebook. Glad you are with us. Once we get into the season, get closer to the season, shows will be coming a little bit more often. Make sure you head over to YouTube, subscribe to the show. Just search out Morning in the Valley. Easy to find. Subscribe to the show, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. And you get the little notification bell that will go off every time we go live. Again, 9 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But once we get closer to the season, that time will become a little more erratic as we work around schedules, but also just bringing you more content. And so want you to know when we go live, and that notification will help. But subscription over there at YouTube will do us a lot of good as we continue to grow this show and get it in front of as many Missouri Valley Conference loving basketball fans as we can. Thank you to head coach Ryan Miller for being with us today from Murray State. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. We'll be back Monday morning, 9 a.m. right here on Morning in the Valley.